folks. Welcome to Follow the Leader Presents, a podcast focused on telling character-driven stories through the use of GM-less tabletop games where we can all take the lead. You can find us on Blue Sky at FTLcast and at FTLcast.com. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/FTLcast. Today we're playing Canon Eyes by Jeff Stormer. For those of you who are new to this game, I hand it over to the author of the game to set the stage.
Greetings, agents. Tonight, we will be once again playing Canon Eyes, a storytelling game about building the hidden, interconnected histories of our favorite pop culture properties and using the truth of those histories to save the world. Each time we get together, we're going to explore a fictional world and pull out our favorite pieces, our characters, themes, locations, plot points, etc., and connect them with other worlds to create a fictional universe larger than the sum of its parts. Then we're going to use those strange stories that we create to undermine the massive corporation that has kept these worlds under lock and key for 1,000 lifetimes. While there is no game master running the show here, there is a resident expert each session, but they're mainly here to answer any questions we have, and if they don't have an answer, they're going to make it up. Also, we are going to use the real world pieces of pop culture that we love, the movies, games, books, and stories that we are really passionate about. And then in between sessions, we're going to explore worlds of our own, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to finally read that book, watch that movie, or play that game our friend has been asking us to play for ages. So there you have it, agents. If you've made it this far, you're a Canon Eye now. There's an evil corporation keeping the world boring. Let's get out there and blow it up with knowledge.
Hell yeah. I'm August, and you can find me on Tumblr at Strange Harpy or Blue Sky at Harpydora. My pronouns are they, them. Playing with me today we have Jeff.
Hello, my name is Jeff Stormer. I am the Great Clown Pagliacci of Tabletop RPG Podcast. And you can find me at jeffstormer.com, where you can find all of my games and podcasts. My pronouns are he and his.
We have Mac.
That's me. I'm Mac. You can find me various places on the internet at Citadel of Swords. You can find me on the Follow the Leader Patreon. You can find me on the Moonshot Podcast Network Patreon with my good friend Jeff Stormer on occasion.
We have Jade, also known as Coda.
Hi, hello. I am the aforementioned Jade, also known as Coda. You can find me most places on the internet at Jade Oxford Rose. I am going to work up on coming up with a fun little pseudonym for myself because Jeff is inspiring me to be funnier. So there we go. Terrible influence.
And last but certainly not least, we have Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I use she, her, they pronouns, and you can find me on the internet wherever you get good content at RedtailTalk90.
Our lines, which are things we absolutely do not want to see, are homophobia and transphobia, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, violence against children and animals, sexual assault, domestic violence or intimate partner violence, unwanted pregnancy, and plagues and pandemics. Our veils, which are things we're fine with addressing but will just fade to black on, are steamy situations, graphic descriptions of bodily harm, and terminal illness. That being said, the media that we're engaging with primarily this week does have a couple of content warnings. Those content warnings include the coercion of a minor into a relationship with a supernatural being, child endangerment, fantasy violence, and drugging a minor. These aren't particularly graphic by any stretch of the imagination. It's, a Jim Henson movie. It's not, terribly over the top in that regard, but, those things do happen. But I don't imagine...
It's rated PG, right?
Yeah, I think it's PG.
It's PG, but it's 80s PG before PG-13 was a thing, if I remember correctly.
I was gonna say, hold on a second. I know the history of the PG-13 rating. And
Isn't it Sam Raimi's fault? Isn't it like Spider-Man?
It had been out. Okay, PG-13 had been out for about 3 years around when Labyrinth had come out.
Yeah, but still, it's not particularly graphic, and I don't expect us to graphically engage with any of these particular themes. So, but just, keep that in mind if you're watching along. And now that we've got all that, let's get started.
Fun fact of the day, Red Dawn is the first film to use the PG-13 rating.
Wolverines. All right, agents, let's debrief. Let's debrief on what we know before we dig into what we found in our investigation. We investigated the world of Pacific Rim. Do we all want to grab one or two of the items that are on the board and talk about what we're excited to kind of explore further before we start putting items on the board?
I'm gonna shout out one that Jeff pointed out to me before we started recording. This was also one of my cards last time, and it really made me laugh at Jeff. I am fully crediting Jeff with the connection, but I do need to just highlight the kaiju again.
Uh-huh. Pacific Rim, a movie about piloted giant robots fighting kaiju. A thing that will come up in our conversation in a very prominent way.
Yeah. We do recommend that you maybe just why we have pulled elements or highlighted elements. I mean, it's the core conceit of the game we're playing, but also go back and listen to the first episode. You will want to.
Yeah.
We're hilarious, and also context.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've pulled a bunch of elements from Pacific Rim that we all really like as our characters. Oh, should we say who our agents are again? Who are working this case?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Hi, Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Beetlejuice. Hold on. I gotta lower my register. I gotta get closer to the mic. Hello, listeners out there in Radio Land. This is Luke Lester coming to you in the AM hours over here on Daily Planet Radio. I am the resident podcast host of the Daily Planet's Society and Culture section here, investigating the stories that the corporation does not want you to know about. Doing podcast voice is so fun.
I love hearing my friends do their NPR podcast voice. It just makes me ludicrously happy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think podcast voice is really in the cards for my investigator who, may or may not remind you of a particular babe. He is Toby
What
Williams.
We
We can't keep doing this.
We can, and we will.
We can and we will.
It's not gonna not happen.
That's three of our investigators who are our fourth and our fifth.
TB Buckler, brain in a jar. Happy to be here.
Fakir over in a corner is just kind of like, like looks up, nods, goes back to like sorting through cards. Going back to the stuff that we want to highlight also from our investigation into Pacific Rim, I would like to just point very, very softly at being outside of the box. Specifically the outside of the box part of the subversion of expected roles.
Got to give a shout out to fighting something bigger than you as we move into this new property.
Very excited to look at what comes after. I think what comes after, there's interesting things, and also you can't put your head in the sand. A lot of interesting, a lot of fertile ground here.
The thing with what comes after is it does just make me just look at Toby and be like, yeah, dog, what does come after?
I'm just gonna, hey Toby, I'm just gonna go ahead and get in front of this. Sorry that happened to you, dog. I just wanna, before we get into the whole investigation angle, I do feel like I kind of am obligated to just say, hey man, that's rough. Sorry.
I mean, by all accounts, I had a great time. I went and I had a really weird visit with a bunch of really, really weird people, and at the end of the day, I got a teddy bear out of the deal, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much of it do you actually remember?
Literally zero, but you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's maybe normal.
Yeah.
The equivalent of somebody putting down your baby photo album in front of a work meeting going, hey, can we talk about this? 'Cause there's some shit in these photos that does not make sense. Hey, everybody. I'm looking at these baby pictures.
I'm also looking at our board and just looking at Guillermo del Toro being here, and like labyrinths and monsters, and
There's a lot.
there's so
Yeah,
much.
can I actually just real quick before we start, can we just put Jim Henson down on the board?
Yeah.
That's kind of the place that I'm like, I maybe want to start with Jim Henson. Especially, like, this is, like, alright, we are gonna get into the behind-the-scenes shit. This was, what, his last film? I think?
Film maybe.
Film maybe, not project. Well, technically, Muppet Vision 3D I think is technically considered a film, but yeah, this is his last theater release.
Yeah.
Yes.
Film yes, project no.
Oh, this I don't know if I necessarily want to put on the board. August, we can cut this a bit, and if it turns out we want to put it on the board later, we can. Can we talk about the fact that the screenplay was written by Terry Jones of Monty Python fame? Because I forgot that.
That tracks. That feels like that tracks to everything else that
I mean,
that
yeah. If we also want to talk about like the blurring of lines between reality and story, which is a big thing within Labyrinth itself, but also the fact that it's Brian Frood who designed the goblins and his artwork. It's his son, Toby, who plays Toby.
Yeah. That baby's name is Toby because that baby did not respond to any other name.
Uh-huh.
I'm putting a thing on the board specifically, and I'll probably put it because now we're in play, baby.
We're in
this
play.
is like there's an order to play hypothetically, but this is also the experience of play, which is just like reality and fiction blurred as one. Because I feel like
boy.
I mean, that's also one of the big things. It's one of my favorite details, and it was something I knew I wanted to bring up. Is the first time we see Sarah's room in Labyrinth, we see everything that's going to be in the labyrinth. We see how we see photos of her mother and the actor / musician she is dating. And one of the things that, and I don't know how much we want to tease this out here or whether we want to fold this in as an extension of reality and fiction blurred as one. Does Sarah have those things because she already knew about the labyrinth and is drawn to them, or does the labyrinth look the way it does, and do its Denzians look the way they do because it's being shaped by Sarah's conception of them?
And I think like I'm gonna do one more thing before we go to like the flow of play, which is I'm gonna make a dual connection here, which is like what we have here, what I think is captivating is this idea of what we see from Sarah's bedroom is also the act of what Jim Henson and Guillermo del Toro as creators making art are doing, which is taking influences around them and building it into magic. And what we're seeing is evidence that is like a real thing that really can occur. Like there's a magic in that is made manifest in Labyrinth that as we are exploring this fictional space increasingly feels like that's just a real ass thing that is occurring.
Yeah, storytellers who create stories about storytellers is just
Mwah, this is chef's kiss. Fakir, I want to be very clear that +1 is from me and from Fakir.
Okay, all right. Does anybody else have anything we want to throw on the board free form before we start?
Okay, we already have real life people. Do we want David Bowie to be?
Yes.
Yes.
100%. Obviously,
Yes.
David Bowie gets to be on the board, right?
Yeah. And again, that leads us out. You have to marvel at the wondrousness, like the serendipitous of Jim Henson and Brian Frood's art. Jim Henson, the director, the storyteller, and then David Bowie, the musician, and Terry Jones, the writer. Like those four disparate things coming together to
Mhm.
create nobody else, like, because I was thinking like, oh, what would Guillermo del Toro's Labyrinth look like? He did Pan's Labyrinth. It's a very different sort of movie, but also
Yeah,
it is about
yes.
but it is also about a girl escaping into fantasy. So,
Isn't it? And isn't it? I mean, isn't she quite literally escaping into fantasy to? Is she trying to save a sibling? Doesn't the sibling get
Mhm.
lost in Pan's Labyrinth? Yeah. So it's.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There we go. That's good. um if you have not seen Pan's Labyrinth, it is rated a 15 in the UK for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough.
It is I mean, but also it is subtitled unless you're a fluent Spanish speaker, in which case I salute you because I only speak English. But it is a incredible movie. Like, do
I
recommend.
watched it for the first time like 2 years ago and was like, if I had watched this as a child, it would have fucked me up.
I watched it as like a young adult, like in college when it first hit theaters,
Mm.
and it fucked. I mean,
Yeah.
even at 20, it fucked me up. Real
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
bad.
Yeah.
at 26, it fucked me up. But I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Rightly so. It is beautiful, but not the subject of.
I would like to also throw on the board the importance of a funny little guy.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny little
Correct.
guy.
Can we do a line linking that to Dr. Newt Geisler,
Uh-huh.
please?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
also
Yippee!
Beetlejuice, the investigator, and also Subversion of Expected Roles, actually. Also, arguably to David Bowie.
Yeah.
These all track. These all track.
We're all nodding.
God, I love that we're already seeing a weird interconnected conspiracy vortex shape. And going back again to this idea of like, what is it, the question I think to consider as we are putting strings on the board, right? Like the meta question, because there's kind of two levels of the game. One of them is the level of just like, these are things that I like and these are relevant themes, but also the meta level of like, what does it mean to exist in a world? Like, what do these themes tell us about a world in which all of these things are connected? And there is something really magical and powerful about the idea that like a funny little guy is a thread that runs through so many of these like stories and worlds, and this idea that like not to immediately like make it over important, but like there is a radical element to transcending norms in the way that you do when you are a funny little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well said, the great Pagliacci of TTRPGs.
Well,
But to add to Jeff's point, or to continue from it, the ability to point and laugh, to make a joke, like there's a reason why court jesters have played a role in society. There is a reason why clowns have endured. There is something about people, about being human, that need to. Sometimes you have to find the humor and say, oh, you need somebody to go, hey, this is ridiculous. And we should laugh at it. And that's why the powerful hate being laughed at. Because it's so hard to hide nefarious shit when somebody is pointing out the ridiculousness of you. Like, it's how you bring down bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
It like go back as far like the Emperor's New Clothes. Like, it took the little kid being like, no, this is hilarious. That guy's got no clothes on. Like, we need it. It is a tool of minorities, of oppressed peoples, to be able to go, well, fuck you then. I'm going to make a joke out of this. Because this is the reality. And if I'm going to make myself laugh about it, I'm going to make you laugh about it. I just
I'm
watched.
actually even gonna go.
Sorry,
go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I watched a great video essay this week from the Leftist Cooks, who I 100% recommend. They do amazing work. But talking about what is Irishness and how a lot of the great like literature renaissance within sort of Irish culture comes about being the clown, and how they were the butt of so many jokes, and how they sort of turned that around and owned it, but they still are being the joker, being the clown. Like Waiting for Godot is is clowns. It is expressly like it's a joke, it's a farce. They're waiting for somebody that's not going to show up. Spoilers for Waiting for Godot, if you care about such things.
I was just about to watch it.
I'm so sorry, Jeff. But yeah, no, just I could get clowning. I love clowning, and like the notion of like puppets as well, like puppetry and clowning to tie it back. Like it is like taking big things and bringing them down to a smaller scale so we can laugh and tell. I'm just going to be happy for a
Yes.
moment. It's fine. I'm just sad that I couldn't speak French. I wanted to go to clown school so bad, guys.
Me turning around to my book of Commedia dell'arte scenarios, which I have behind me so that I can learn about Harlequins and Zani.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have in hearing all of that, I have drawn I've placed a string between the importance of a funny little guy and reality and fiction blurred as one of if you make light of the world, if you posit the absurdity, if you weaken an institution, you like it's very a lot of this game is very Grant Morrison, but this is an especially Grant Morrison sentence of like, by making light of a thing, by pointing out the strings, by pointing out the constraints, you weaken a thing, and there is a magic in that if we have already posited a world in which that fantasy is magic made literal and these things blurred together, then what is happening when the funny little guy, when the clown does clownery, what is happening is that the world is that those there is a very literal power being taken away from the entities that would wield that power, which in a world in which there is an entity that has all of the power and is controlling everything is a very dangerous thing. It undermines a sense of it undermines the overwhelmingness of the corporation's grip on everything by pointing out the silliness of it, and there's a power in that I want to represent on this string very specifically.
Mhm.
Is it too early to also add "you have no power over me"
No, it's not.
to the board? As in, is it too early in the extended sessions of games that we are planning to do? The answer is no. I know the answer is no. Also want to draw a connection between that and reality and fiction blurred as one.
Mhm.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I know what I'm about.
Also, and I suppose this is connected to, or this can be linked to the importance of a funny little guy, of reality and fiction blurred as one. And it also is this through line, I think, back to the subversion of expected roles, in a manner of speaking, in that one of the key things that's revealed at the end of Labyrinth is that Jareth is following a script. He is what he is because Sarah has made it so. And it in the text, like, everything I've done it for you. I am exhausted from living up to your expectations.
Mhm.
He is shaped by what she needed him to be in the story. And that the roles that we play and the roles we are forced to play, and that tension between subverting those roles.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much good meta out there about Jareth as a concept. Like, was he a baby like Toby once? Because he doesn't look like any of the other goblins. Or is he just look like that because Sarah is a teenage girl surrounded by pictures of this handsome man her mother is dating? Much to consider.
Hmm.
Should we talk about the concept of musicals?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was thinking about the concept of musicals. I was thinking about that.
Like, I forget who said it originally. It's one of those old adages. And I feel like Labyrinth is sort of a jukebox musical, kind of. I mean, it is one artist doing the same thing, and it is all songs, but you guys don't need me to explain what jukebox musical is. But the whole thing about musicals, which is like when you can't use words or the emotions become too big to speak, you sing.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, my Box Not Included podcast, I got very emotional talking about musicals, and I'll do so again. Look, I think I speak for many autistic people when there is something about the emotional clarity that can come with a musical number. Like just like, oh, that's what they're feeling, huh? Because the music, as well as the lyrics, it bypasses the logic. It goes, and you feel what they are feeling, and it's just like,
Please, Coda, let it be known I am writing this down in the channel because we're going to revisit this in about 2 months.
very good.
I do think it is very interesting, though, given the idea of the musical and, like, when the emotions become too big, you have to sing them. Sarah never sings anything.
Mm-hmm.
No. But I suppose she's the audience. Weird, because she is our protagonist, but also she's the audience. The Labyrinth is her show that she's come to see.
I'm putting this on the board, and I'm making a connection point immediately. There's a connection point that is very important for me to make, or very important that I would like to have made. And that is to the power of the musical to truths left unspoken but understood. The idea of
Yes.
like music as a form of expression for like saying the thing that cannot be said, or even maybe it's not even connecting to truths understood. Maybe it's even connecting to like fighting something bigger than you. Of like the thing is the thing that I think is significant that I want to call out is like the very musical sense of my dear friend JR loves to frame it as it is the common thread between two of my great loves in life, which are musicals and professional wrestling, which is like when emotion gets to a point where it cannot be communicated and the flow of reality has to break into this other language where it is the common thread is when emotion has gotten to a point where it cannot be expressed by words, it breaks out into either a song or a wrestling match. Like there is this sense of like there are forces. You're either you either square up or get on your mark. Those are the two options. But the idea that like there's a force, there's an emotional presence, there is a power that like overtakes us that like can push us to a place where we transcend is, I think, like a very powerful concept that I think we're going to come back to a lot. But I think that idea of this is our way of tapping into something larger. Like we're seeing evidence of a sort of magic in play.
Speaking of which, I guess I'm gonna drop this card on the board and start just connecting it to a lot of things.
One of the fun things about Labyrinth as a musical is the way the music shifts between diegetic and non-diegetic in places.
Yes.
Like we go from Jareth singing to it being the soundtrack as Sarah's navigating a different part of the labyrinth. And I suppose it adds to that whole the artifice of the labyrinth, the dreamness of it, the playing a part in a play. It's got layers, man.
I have a question for the game designer.
Yeah, sure.
Can I draw connections between our investigators and things on the board?
Yeah, 100%. And I think like it is encouraged to draw those connections between your investigator and specific things, at which point you describe so there's two answers to your question. This is game designer getting very excited. If you are drawing a connection between your investigator or an investigator and an object on the board, it is encouraged, to describe like how your character has gotten personally involved in the case and like how that puts them in danger. Like basically this is you getting personally involved in the case and kind of getting too deep and inviting the eye of the corporation. And if you are drawing, Jeff is as this is also serving as a playtest of the game. Jeff is writing down notes of drawing connections between investigators is a perfect opportunity to like set up scenes and say like this is how our characters interact and how we learn things about our characters.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to throw this to August then. Again, August, this is a thing that you can just cut out. But I'm looking at that family card, and I am looking at Toby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
that is a, like, key part of the film Labyrinth.
Yeah, 100%. That is a perfectly reasonable connection to make, especially because, like, I've positioned it so that Toby's in kind of, like, his sister's shoes because his sister was looking for him, and now he's looking for his sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
this is definitely just, like, deeply entangling you in a very real way.
Mm-hmm.
So like I will throw the question. Hold on, there's a specific set of questions for this. Hold on, getting personally involved.
We have like completely thrown out.
Every single time I've played the game, the structure gets completely thrown out, and that's kind of the magic of it. Of like, there's a structure in place if you need it, but also part of the magic is we are now in the mode of we're building a conspiracy board and starting to create the interconnected universes of these things. So you have gotten personally involved. To an extent, our investigator will be personally involved with every piece of evidence and every connection on the board. This happens without needing to connect our cards to pieces of evidence. However, when you want to get personally involved, you can make connections between them and other pieces of evidence just as you would any other cards on the board. For the most part, this is kind of the same as any other connection. You connect the card to another piece of evidence to explain the secret connection between two pieces of our investigators. The only difference is you have to answer two important follow-up questions. How does your getting personally involved undermine the corporation's effort to keep this knowledge a secret? And how does your getting personally involved put the eye of the corporation on you and your team, exposing you to potentially in danger?
So I keep thinking of like the character of the corporation and like drawing parallels to, you know, corporations that we have in our own reality that, you know, kind of raise up a particular type of family structure as being the only valid family structure. And so, you know, you're supposed to only be invested in certain people as your family and only in specific ways that make it palatable to advertisers. And so I keep coming back to that when I think of family and think of like Toby getting personally invested or personally involved, because like Toby's not acting the way that a little brother is supposed to act.
Mm.
And that, you know, he's supposed to like, you know, maybe be on the news, you know, oh, my sister's missing, you know, a heartfelt plea for her return instead of, you know, hitting the bricks himself and trying to unravel what may have happened to her. And that's just what I keep coming back to thinking about the first question. The second question,
Can I propose, feel free to shoot it down. It is your character. You have final authority, but I have how it puts you in danger is like, you like a lot of, you know, what it would look like to like investigate or draw the connections with family in that way means that it's very clear. Like there's a lot of records being pulled, right? Like there's a lot of information is moving around you and your family and your background, which means it is impossible to ignore the fact that like you are part of an investigation that is happening, which means that it's very clear that like, and these are, and it is, you know, to the premise both to what brought you into the investigation, which is like your sister has gone missing, but also the fact that all of these stories have been suppressed, all of these connections and the truth behind them has all been suppressed. There is a sense of they now know that somebody is unearthing records of like what has happened once upon a time. Like there is a clear sense. I think it brings forth the idea. It brings to the corporation the idea that people are dragging out these stories, which we have not sort of stated publicly. You know what I mean? Like we've been putting our information on the board, but now this is the first like thing that has maybe gotten back to people in a boardroom somewhere.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that a lot.
I have placed the card on the board and drawn 2 connection points. I put down goblins.
Very good.
And then I connected it to family and David Bowie, of the idea that like, because hearing you talk about like non-traditional family structures reminded me of the end of the film where the goblins and the monsters are part of Sarah's family. And obviously David Bowie being a goblin, but like also just goblins, just goblins on the board, you know, funky little goblins.
I feel like the goblins should be connected to the importance of a funny little guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%.
I have linked Labyrinth to the Rift in that there are other worlds next to ours that are accessible. We can travel between places. Things could go both ways. Not just people. And I also added the sticky note, things are not always what they seem. That's something that gets iterated over and over in Labyrinth. Like, Hoggle is this weird, wrinkly little guy who is belittled and demeaned by the people around him and clearly thinks little of himself. But Sarah sees him as a friend. Ludo is this big monster who is soft and kind. Sedidimus. I just love Sedidimus.
Shout out to Didymus.
I am now also just going back to reality and fiction, a blurred as one. Ambrosius, Sedidimus's steed, who is played alternatively by the same sheepdog that plays Merlin, Sarah's dog, and also a clearly stuffed toy dog or Muppet dog, and it's just it's like when they do a long shot and David Bowie goes from like raising the actual human baby up and down to very clearly throwing a doll, and it's just like, but it makes me think again of that, the artifice of a play and the suspension of disbelief, and we know what this is, and we are with them all the same. It's like, it's just things are not always what they seem, and sometimes they are, but sometimes they aren't. And like all the in the bubble dream, after Sarah eats the peach, and all these adult humans are there masquerading as goblins, pretending to be goblins. Shout out to one of my favorite bits of Labyrinth trivia: the choreographer and Muppet movement coordinator is Beverly Crusher herself. For Labyrinth.
Oh, awesome.
Using her other, like, she's Gates McFadden credited in Star Trek, but she uses her other name, Cheryl McFadden. But in the behind the scenes stuff, I remember the first time watching it, I was like, holy shit, Beverly. And you know, my good friend Beverly Crusher.
That's really fantastic.
But yeah, and it's very fun and good.
Does anybody have another thing they want to throw on the board?
More glitter.
More glitter.
Yeah.
This was an adage whenever Jared more glitter, but also, do you remember when Fanta, you knew you were in a fantasy forest because the trees were glittery?
I do remember this.
But again, I suppose it is that things are not what they seem, or reality and fiction blurring, but that, like, I suppose it's shorthand for magical when I think about it. Like pixie dust. Pixie dust is what makes you fly. It is just like a little bit of a sprinkling of something to make it shine, to make it catch the light. So you look at it and it's a little bit different. It's about the fucking whimsy.
Fucking whimsy.
I would like to draw a connection between hot people doing cool shit and Labyrinth.
Yeah, that tracks. That all tracks.
Yeah. You gotta draw it directly to David Bowie as well.
Yes.
Maybe not, actually. I think we have to draw it to the contact juggler who's doing the crystal ball tricks more than David Bowie himself. But
Michael Motion! Give a shout out to Michael Motion.
everybody give it up for Michael Motion. Like, straight up and down. That shit is bananas.
God, this board is already a mess, and this is where the magic of the game lives.
Yeah! That's
I
what I
love
like
this.
to hear.
I have also drawn a. Sorry, did you have more thoughts about that, or is that it? Because I've also got a connection that I think is got some. We're really starting to seed between the two universes in a way that I think is exciting to drop here.
I am going to draw a line between the power of a musical and Princess Tutu and not elaborate.
Okay, great. I look forward to learning what that means. I have drawn a connection point between. I haven't decided which way I want to put it. I'm going to put it since the chain here is the power of a musical transcending limitations. I'm drawing drift compatibility here.
Yes.
As the third point, the idea that like there is something that like drift compatibility is two people being so in sync that they can pilot a robot together. That there is a human connection that is so strong that you are able to achieve the impossible, like that you are able to do the impossible. And if we are looking at a world in which Labyrinth exists, that is also a form of magic. Like this idea of it tells, it's the same as the power. That's why I was thinking it might be connected to the power of a musical, and in fact I'm gonna put it to the power of a musical, because it is this idea that like there is something that you believe in so thoroughly that and to achieve this emotional state that is so heightened, that is where the impossible becomes possible. When you are so connected to someone, you can suddenly power a robot. When you believe in an ideal so much, suddenly there is music in the world. When you are so connected to passion and hatred, suddenly you can be German suplexed and stand up back on your feet. Like this idea of the power of a musical being an emotional place that is an elevated state means that like there is an emotional state where the impossible becomes possible. Mac, you have raised your hand.
Are Sarah and Toby drift compatible? Discuss.
Hmm.
I think this is an interesting question, because I don't think that you necessarily have a clear answer.
Yeah, I don't think that Sarah starts out as drift compatible with much of anybody, because I feel like being, part of being drift compatible is being able to look outside yourself into somebody else and, accept them and as who they are, as they are. And, at the beginning of the movie, at the very least, Sarah definitely struggles with that. I think that, like, after the movie, as Toby grows up and Sarah watches him grow up, I feel like they could very easily be drift compatible. I could definitely see their relationship being, a kind of close relationship where there's a lot of mutual respect and, a particular cadence to that relationship. But at the very least, as we see her in the movie, I don't think Sarah's much, drift compatible with much of anybody.
Nodding. As our resident expert on this film.
Sorry, Danielle and I expressing a moment of drift compatibility on the Miro board as we're doing the same thing. Fun thing about drift compatibility and what you were saying about the power of musicals, Jeff, the original draft of Pacific Rim, the test for drift compatibility was dancing together rather than fighting.
Oh, sure. An Evangelion homage.
Yeah, sure. But also one of my favorite things that I've seen, since drift compatibility entered sort of the common Tumblr vernacular, is do you think that Ryan Stiles and Colin Mockery would be drift compatible and then like improv comedy as a test of drift compatibility? And that is just
Yes.
But that idea of two people becoming so in sync with each other that they can create something bigger than themselves is just
I have put onto the board the Junkyard / Lost in the Abyss as a, end of Act 2 kind of low point, narratively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fun because I had not long before that I had linked Chasing the Rabbit to Labyrinth, because obviously Sarah gets lost in memory. So then we have linked Chasing the Rabbit to the Junkyard, Lost in the Abyss, back to Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna make a connection that I think this is the we have now transcended into the power of a musical. We are transcending limitations because I'm gonna ask a question by way of drawing a connection, and I need everybody to just visualize the question mark that I think will very quickly be responded with a resounding yes when I draw this connection point. Question mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Newt Geisler's a goblin, right? We all agree that
Yes.
like he's like a man, but like is a little we all agree that man was.
He's a man, but he's a little Muppet.
That man probably came from the labyrinth and just showed up one day covered in tattoos and was like, by the way, we all see that, right?
Yeah.
I can't be the only one that sees this.
no, of course not.
Yeah.
Also, how have we not connected Beetlejuice the musical yet to Power of the Musical?
I've been thinking about it.
I almost feel like that's a connection that happens in the Beetlejuice session. Is the only reason I've been hesitating on it.
Fair enough.
Hey, quick sidebar, quick sidebar. This I do want to leave in. I went to go look up Newt Geisler to make sure that we did not call a Jewish man a goblin without acknowledging
Fair.
that.
Oh, sure.
The answer is unclear. However, are we aware of the fact that Newt was the product of an affair? Apparently. His
No.
parents...
He's raised by his father and his uncle. Yeah. Sorry, I am not the person to ask this question. I am an outlier.
His parents were both married to other people. And she just left them. So, shout out to Newt Geisler, bastard goblin, I guess.
Incredible.
Anyway, carry on. Let it be acknowledged that I have tried to make sure that this man is not Jewish. The answer is unclear.
To that point, sorry.
Go on. Please, Jeff.
I was gonna say, to that point, I would actually like to rephrase this because I think it's more accurate to how we are describing Newt, and also like what this card, which is, and I'm shocked is not already on the board, which is Muppets.
Yes. Just to be very clear.
Dad, what's a Muppet? Well, it's not quite a mop, and it's not quite a puppet, but man. Anyway, does that answer your question?
To answer your question, I have no idea.
So often I have that particular line from that episode. What was it? Fish Called Selma. Classic episode of The Simpsons.
Great episode.
Great episode. I mean, it is also the episode with the Planet of the Apes, the musical. So, all-time Simpsons episode. Not relevant to this discussion. Worth watching.
Relevant to me as a person. Important to me that we talk about this.
August, as our resident expert, do you have anything else you would like to Toby, is there anything else here that you want to fucking talk about?
The thing is, like, we as players all know each other fairly well, so, you know, a lot of the stuff that is relevant to my interests has just ended up on the board naturally.
Sure.
I think... Okay, so it is specifically giant robots piloted by multiple people, so we can't link the giant robot from Labyrinth to
Yes, you
Pacific
can.
Rim in that way.
Yes, you can.
We can. We 100% can.
We can link it to kaiju.
Oh, kaiju's a good pull, yeah.
We can absolutely link it to kaiju. And I would actually love to just go ahead and throw on the board Ludo and draw the kaiju connection, because I think it's significant, and also it raises, I think, big questions about the relationship to kaiju in Pacific Rim. If like we have evidence of a kaiju that is like a kind little giant who controls rocks and is friendly, like how does that color the perception of kaiju that we see in Pacific Rim?
There's also something fun pulling on that thread, sinking back into the blurring of reality and fiction and the meta-ness of it, is that while not the case in Pacific Rim, in the movies and the stories that GDT drew inspiration from, kaiju are played by a guy in a suit, as is Ludo. Like,
as are the Muppets.
Yeah, well, depends on the Muppet, but yes.
Depending.
But that notion of, I mean, we get into a whole of a creature brought to life from a person within. I carry my heart in my hands. But just that thought of the humanity inside of a kaiju, like, it comes from there is always something human within a kaiju at its core, because that's what they are. There's a great photo I've seen of the three of the gentlemen who did like the suit performance for Godzilla, like and it's just the three of them like walking together doing their different Godzilla walks, and it's a lovely thing to see.
I've got a two-way connection that I'm shocked hasn't been done, and I feel, and that is Muppets as a subversion of expected roles and being outside the box, and a subversion of expected roles being outside the box and the importance of a funny little guy. Like, this as a triangle feels very significant, and I feel like I really want to like call that out as like a connected piece. Is like we this idea of existing outside of the box is very critical to the idea of a Muppet as a visual like the idea that of the Muppet as entity that naturally, by way of being not quite a mop, not quite a puppet, exists outside of the perception of reality, and thus is sort of unmoored from the laws of reality. Like, this idea that you can unstick yourself from reality. You can...
Jeff, I am so excited for you to watch Tank Girl.
You can become a Muppet. Jeff,
I am so excited for you to watch Tank Girl.
I'm real excited to watch Tank Girl. But the idea that you can be a very Muppety man, or a very manly Muppet.
I have also drawn a connection between subversion of expected roles being outside the box directly to Labyrinth, since a lot of the point of Sarah's journey through the labyrinth and figuring out, like, and navigating through that is in a lot of ways thinking outside of the box. Like, it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Do we want to tie it to things are not always what they seem as well?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Another question for Toby while Mac is drawing elaborate lines.
The lines keep getting more elaborate.
They
It
do.
keeps getting funny.
That one wasn't actually that elaborate.
Toby as a baby, was taken to effectively fairy.
Yes.
He is called a goblin babe. Changeling stories go way, 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 way back. Do you think touching on like things like Persephone, things like, I'm sure they fed him at some point. Does Toby have a little bit of magic of his own, having been in fairy?
Ooh.
That's actually something that
Can you go? I was like, can you go to fairy and not come away unchanged?
Yeah, that's actually something that I've thought about just in general, thinking about Labyrinth as a human being, not necessarily for this
Word.
game.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was gonna say, I think the official canon sequel manga has some of that
yeah,
in it.
I think it did too, but honestly, I recall not really enjoying the sequel manga that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think, the very point of the labyrinth is you can't enter the labyrinth and come out unchanged. So there's definitely something different about Toby than his peers, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. This is the sequel manga now. I'm joking. This is a sequel comic. This is a sequel comic podcast. I'm not calling ourselves a manga. None of us are Japanese. The joke was, we're not Japanese. It's not a manga.
Copy that.
I am dead serious about calling us the sequel comic, though.
Sure.
Yes! Dagel! Yes! 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 I see a Dagel drawing connections and I go, yes!
Talk us through the connection that has just been drawn.
So I have drawn, I have put on the board asking for help, because it's honestly kind of revolutionary to see a young girl go into a situation where she's above her head and ask for help.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. She asks for help a lot.
She doesn't just do it once.
And I have connected that to carry your heart in your hands. Because you must admit vulnerability in order to ask for help.
There's another connection that I don't know that it's ever explicitly done, but I mean, kind of, and I think there's a natural connection here that I think stands out to me of asking for help, or like needing that help and receiving it, even if unspoken, which is to say, I'm drawing here the connection between asking for help and Mako Mori.
Yeah!
As, like, and again, and that kind of goes to this idea of, and so even I'm going to kind of also make the dual connection here to also human connection and drift compatibility of needing help, asking for help, of like that moment of human connection, right? It is that moment of there's a vulnerability of asking for help, and it is, again, we keep coming back to the magic that keeps emerging is opening yourself up to the idea of magic, and that being that vulnerability being the space where the impossible becomes possible and magical shit happens, and that being the thing that that the corporation wants to control, the possibility space. They want to own possibility more than anything, because it is when you open yourself up and you express that vulnerability, that possibility space fades away. So if you put that wall up and you keep that isolation in place, that is where possibility becomes definable. Limitations exist and control can be exerted.
I have also connected it to fighting something bigger than you. Giant robots piloted by multiple people share the neural load. And subversion of expected roles being outside the box.
I am failing at figuring out how to draw lines between posts, because, and please feel free to shoot this down, Beej, but Beetlejuice, you kind of have to ask for help. Like, that is unfortunately a part of your character, is you do require asking for help
outside assistance.
So
brutal.
I mean, I was putting Lydia on blast here, but fair, I guess.
And this is me asking for help.
Who drew the line between Muppets and Beetlejuice? Because yeah, you're right.
I did do that. That was me.
Okay, good. You're right.
Like, if New Geisler is a Muppet, Beetlejuice is 100% a
Exactly.
Muppet.
Yes.
Yeah. What I like that I like that we're the idea of Muppet, and I'm glad that we renamed that card because I think it does get at like the vision. It very clearly defines to me like a very puppet-agnostic definition for Muppet, which is a great phrase that I really want to like linger on for a moment. Is puppet-agnostic Muppet definition?
Yes, it's good. It's good as the thing.
Yep.
Can we note to Editor August subtitle for episode 2?
Yep.
This idea that like we have a picture of like what a Muppet is, and it ties into that idea of not just a funny little guy, but of existing outside of norms, of being somebody undefined by the rules of existence. Fuck. I see a connection. 2 sessions. Everybody, can I break the rules?
The author is napping.
Yes, absolutely.
My author is napping. Because I think I want to put a connection on the board. I want to put a connection on the board that I want you all to think about for a while. That I think is going to be a sentence that's going to be inexplicable for a moment, but I think Luke Lester is having a slowly dawning realization here.
Luke Lester is having a moment.
Is having a moment as describing the Muppet as somebody that is unbound by the rules of the reality and the system.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%.
I'm just right. So there's Superman the property. I'm drawing a connection between Superman the property and Superman the guy, and positing that like I think Superman's a Muppet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Superman is a Muppet. I think that Superman, by nature of his powers.
Jeff, I need you to go post on Blue Sky right now, out of context.
I was also going to say, Jeff, one of us is putting this in the comics channel of the Writers' Workshop, right?
I'm just writing, I think Superman is a Muppet. It has been posted. I will not elaborate.
Perfect.
The game is going great.
As we are in a brief break here, contemplating the awesomeness of the statement that is Superman is a Muppet. Is there any part of this part of play that we haven't addressed yet? We've been identifying evidence and making connections and getting personally involved. Are we missing anything?
No, in terms of flow of play, this is the crux of the session, is us putting these items on the board and fleshing this out. Once similar to how we did last time, once we feel like we have tapped the put everything that we would want to say initially on the board. And something that we can always do and come back to is if there's other things about Pacific Rim that we want to put on the board, or as we come back to other things, we will always have the ability to put other things on the board to say, hey, this belongs on the board and should be connected to X, Y, and Z. But I think there is, but no, the crux of the session is this. Once we have effectively passed and said this is all of the cards we want on the board this session, we will pick one of them to represent how we are opposing the corporation and undermining their operations. But that is the ending climax of the session. That is our boss battle.
Copy that.
Hey Jeff, from the game designer's standpoint, because you talked in our text chat about bridging themes between properties on the board. Have we effectively done that, or is there ways
I think we've seen I have seen how that has taken shape in terms of things like the power of a musical being transcending limitations, connecting to drift compatibility, things like that, of like connecting those themes and seeing how they color a shared world. I think that was my concern, but I am feeling like that is given us a picture of a world that is very compelling and in line with the kind of the spirit and flow of the game.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that there were not other ways in which we could push at this.
No. I my concern was we had items on the board that were very like academic or like literary, and we were like, I'm like how that was going, but like looking at those and saying these are rules of the world and how do these rules of the world interact is very like that the in play that is shaking out as we're seeing the rules of a shared world develop, and it's causing fun connections like Superman is a Muppet.
Danielle, I see another connection that you have drawn.
Yeah, it is perhaps a subset of asking for help. But should
It is also a clearer connection to Beetlejuice, I think, so...
Yeah, should you need us, the implication being just call / we'll be here if you need us. Yeah, I have put that on the board, connected it to asking for help, and also connected it to Beetlejuice.
I would like to connect that to Mako Mori, too, because of Stacker's last words to her being that he'll always be there for her in the drift.
Yeah,
gonna connect that to family.
I'm also going to connect that to what comes after, of this idea that nothing Watchmen quote, but nothing ever ends. Like the remnants of these stories remain and exist, and I think that is significant, and that is a source of magic and weirdness in the world, and I think that is an underpinning of like the world that we're seeing is these things still exist and they are still at our fingertips.
Yes.
A major thing that's just occurred to me that I knew I wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about yet, and I can already see how it pings against the corporation, which is the dual nature of nostalgia and how it can give us strength, but how also we can lose ourselves in it, and the danger of letting yourself become lost in it and forgetting the world that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we are not in. We don't have time to go to how nostalgia being a tool of fascism, which it is, but also, nostalgia can have its benefits. It is not a unilaterally bad thing, because that's the whole point. We see Sarah at risk of becoming just one more creature in the junkyard, weighed down with all the things that she thought were important, and her memories and her childhood toys. But at the end of the movie, the whole point is, at some points in her life, she will need them. There are things that we experience as children, in our youth, throughout our lives, that will always be a source of strength or a touchstone or bring us comfort. And that is a thing that is important. We just can't let ourselves become lost in it and forget. It doesn't do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Where's that from? Oh, fucking turf. But nevertheless, I'm sure she was not the first person to come up with that sentiment. So, but yes, the double-edged sword of nostalgia. Yes, it is. You can weaponize it yourself, but it can also be used against you.
I like that. I've thrown a card on the board. I've connected it between Labyrinth and Numbers Don't Lie. Politics, poetry, promises. These are lies. Numbers as close as we get to the handwriting of God. And that is adaptation. That is the idea of there are, like, Labyrinth, to your point earlier about like Jareth and existing like in as an expression of Sarah's. She's acting in a play. Like the first thing that we see of her, the first lines of the film is she's acting in a play of what she's unfolding here. Labyrinth is a play, and it's being put on. Like there are there are not necessarily, like, it's not numbers, but there are concretes. Like, there are, and part of those concretes is, like, what has been written before. Like, the idea of almost loops, right? The idea that there are concrete loops and those loops have been recorded. Like, there's something to explore and examine, and the way that those loops are different. I mean, you know, what is an adaptation if not another, like there's a corollary to a time loop, sort of like, this has happened before.
Hey, Beach, how many times a week do you do this?
And so the idea of, like, seeing her act in the play, like, there's constants. Like, you can know what will happen because it has been written. It has been done before. And
if
there's
that is
also
a thing if that is a thing that Luke Lester says out loud, I think that makes Fakir flinch.
Ooh.
I like that. Yeah.
Good.
Say more.
No, I won't. You have to watch Princess Tutu. You've gotta watch Princess Tutu.
Great. I look forward to that. I'm drawing a connection between our characters to revisit that in when we watch Princess Tutu.
Literally put a pin in it. We'll come back to it.
And I'm just gonna write in the text.
I just have to step away for 2 minutes. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Princess Tutu is so fucking good. I think it is, like, specifically that connection is the thing that is yeah, we will revisit time loops. Yes. Draw that connection between Beetlejuice too.
And we'll know what that means. We'll know what that means when we get there.
I have been thinking a lot about time loops in the context of Princess Tutu since we started playing this game, and
Have I told you about the my angry boy time loop breakdown?
This sounds familiar, but tell me more.
While Jade is away.
Oh, wait, yes, I do remember this. But say it again.
So,
say it again.
My personal favorite player of Beetlejuice is Justin Collette on the tour. And I have many, let's just state many, recordings of him doing this. And the nice thing is that he's been doing it for like 3 years now. So he's had the opportunity to, like, workshop the character and tweak it until he's got it exactly where he wants it. But if you look at the way that he plays Beetlejuice early on in the run versus the way that he plays Beetlejuice later in the run, this kills the Danielle. Fucking, oh my god.
Here's the thing for me. Anytime any theater in any way, subtly, textually, subtextually, however you do it, acknowledges the loop of the show, that is, not to borrow a phrase from one of our other properties, kryptonite for the Mac.
Yeah, here, I don't know if I've sent you this image, but this image is the crux of it.
You definitely
probably have. Come on. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a screenshot from 4 different performances, right at the moment when she is finally summoning him. And
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dog.
Sal said the words time loop Justin juice, and I lost my goddamn mind.
Yep. Theater is a time loop. I have, like, an idea in my head for a, like, limited run 1-act play that I only haven't written because writing mysteries is hard. where over the course of the play, the characters start to like finish each other's sentences, and then on the final night they're like, we've done this before. We've done this 14 times. How do we get out of it? How do we get out of here? We can't stop this. The murder has already happened. But we can get out of here, right? Right?
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yes.
I don't know that I have anything else to draw a connection to here.
But we're so lacking in connections.
Oh, I just saw the double-edged sword of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Thank you for
put that
putting
in.
that down.
Yeah, I'm just we are not lacking in connections, but I am throwing the gauntlet on the first pass, which I do not feel bad about this time.
No, I don't think I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to put on the board either. I think I'm also ready to pass because I don't think there's anything. There was one thing just in general.
Danielle bringing the horniest
on,
moment of the movie. The mirror board.
No, hold on a second. There is a genuine part of me that wants to switch Superman and Beetlejuice the musical in terms of their points on this pentagram.
Yeah, that feels good. I'm okay with that. I think we can do that. That's an easy. Hold on. Oh, well, that would have been bad. That would have moved a lot more than just 3 cards.
I think we need to move Beetlejuice closer to David Bowie and the number of connections.
Man, the first Beetlejuice movie would have been a very different beast if that had been David Bowie.
I think we need to... Literally, I also started thinking it. The drift compatibility came out again, Coda, because I also was just thinking
That is the second time I've just done like the sideways peace sign to a camera that is not on. So, you know.
I added a card to the board. I don't have anything for it other than I feel like I'm going to want synthesizers on the board at some point or another
Good
because
shit.
I feel like they're an important thing and I want them I would like them on the board for discussion
Look, I
later.
very
Alright.
nearly put the 80s, and I don't know whether I still should. Because there is something so intrinsically 1980s about Labyrinth. Because yes, it is a timeless kind of fairy tale, but also its aesthetics, the presence of David Bowie. And I know David Bowie made music in the 70s and I believe the late 60s and the 90s. Like,
It's like 68, I think, is his first album, if I'm not mistaken.
I did watch a deep dive from Mike the Snare on Bowie, but that was a long time ago. And who added That's Not Fair?
I did.
Yeah, but the whole That's Not Fair, but you say that so often, I wonder what your basis for comparison is just, it's like, but it's also like of being the wrong genre savvy. Because it's like Sarah is somebody who has grown up reading fairy tales. Like we see she's got Hans Christian Andersen and Grimm's fairy tales like on her bookshelf. So she expects like fairy to have rules. Like she asked for the baby to be taken away, so the baby is taken away. And she asked for that. He didn't steal the baby. She asked for the baby to be taken away. And I like that she's like, but wait, no, there's rules, right? What? And then he's like, bitch, you're in my house.
I drew a string connecting that to adaptation. This has happened before. Like there's the power and the freedom and the shackles of feeling like or knowing that this has happened before and being able to like leverage that, or the temptation to leverage that.
And also like an extension of that, but also him breaking his own rules, because there's the line in this like about like, I move the stars for no one. And then it was like, I have rewritten time itself. It's just like, bitch, you're all over the place. Love that for you. But
Yep.
he contradicts himself as much. So
Mm-hmm.
he is both, like you said, bound by these rules, but also seeks to work around them.
Mm-hmm. I've connected it to you can't enter the labyrinth and come out unchanged, because notably Sarah using this for herself is a turning point in her journey. And I have also connected it to you have no power over me, because again, breaking rules, admitting that the rules aren't holding you back, so to speak.
I want to, I suppose this is an extension or it's definitely connected to the importance of a funny little guy. But specifically like trickster archetypes. And maybe this is just a post-it by another name. But thinking about that notion of the trickster that and knocking on the fourth wall. Which is a big thing with Muppets also. But it's thinking of you'll find Tangirl has some elements of that, not much, but a little. But also has some like media shifts within it. So Beetlejuice the musical certainly does. The different layers of just like, oh yeah, I know there's a fourth wall, and here's me knocking on it. It's one of my favorite things about the Muppets as a narrative force. Fun little story about Jade. I went to see when they did the new Muppet movies, the first one with Jason Segel and Amy Adams. And I don't know whether it's the autism brain, probably has something to do with it. But when they first go to see Kermit, and they're like, "We want to save the theater, the Muppet Theater. Can you help us?" And he says no. And Amy Adams' character is like, "Well, this is going to be a really short movie." And I just lost my entire shit and was laughing for about 5 minutes solid, to the point where people were looking at me and like okay. And I'm just, but that just sort of just got me right in where those sorts of funnies live. But I love.
The thing is that it's fucking funny every time.
It is funny every time, but I suppose that's also reality and fiction, isn't it? Blurring as one, that knocking on the fourth wall. It's like the acknowledgement that you're in a story, that you're in a play, that you're telling a story again, that you're stuck in a loop, the nature of that adaptation. This fucking corkboard looks like the London Tube map right now. With less colours.
Yeah. Yep.
At the moment.
That's
at the moment.
That's I mean, give us a couple sessions and it'll be we'll have a transit map. It'll be great. So are there any other things that we want to put on the card, or do we want to stop a corporation block?
I have 2 more things I want to put on the board.
Okay, great.
All right. I have placed 2 things on the board. One is friends ? That needs to be read with a sort of deranged hopefulness.
Bitch, put that closer to Beetlejuice the musical. Put it closer to Beetlejuice the musical.
Say it out loud, Beetlejuice. Say it out loud.
I'm gonna have a new best friend.
There we go.
I have also placed on the board not asking to be forgiven.
Danielle, the player, is deep in the Hoggle VJ parallels.
Yes.
It is my role as the best friend to.
They're right.
A role I take exceeding amounts of pleasure. You do the same to me and have. So.
Yep. But also, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Toby, but she also never asked for Toby's forgiveness, Sarah.
Yeah.
She expresses regret, but she doesn't say sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Same with Hoggle. He expresses regret.
Same with Jareth.
Mm-hmm.
There's very much something about the nature of something being very aware of its nature or what it believes its nature to be. It's like, I won't apologize and I don't expect to get it because I told you I was a coward. I told you what I was. You know who you knew who I was when you met me. It's very much like it's always been there. And it's very Scorpion and the Frog-esque, isn't it? It's just like, I am what I am.
Yes.
But I suppose that duality of and this definitely ties to things are not what they seem.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose also a fun extension or connection to the double-edged sword of nostalgia, which is the way we perceive ourselves versus how we're perceived by other people.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm also going to connect it to Newt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good work, team. Look at all,
Yeah.
look at all those chickens.
So now we come together into the next phase of the operation, which is phase 2, the corporate plot. We've identified evidence, we've made connections, we've gotten involved, somebody has passed. Now that we've all taken our final turns, it's time to confront another one of the corporation's plan to keep these connections in the strange world that we've mapped out under their control. Play reverts to the resident expert, who picks a connection made during play, and like one of the connection points during play, one of the topics that we've discussed, one of the cards on the table, one of the connections between our fictional worlds, and describes how the corporation is targeting, suppressing, or trying to cover up or destroy that connection. And we are all free to like suggest aspects of that plot, but the final authority defaults back to the resident expert. So like, which of these strings, which of these connection points, which of the common threads between the worlds that we've explored do we think poses the greatest threat to the corporation, and how are they suppressing that threat?
Oh man, there's a lot of stuff that, like I've talked about the way I'm conceptualizing the corporation, there's a lot of stuff that I can see them wanting to erase here. We've got a lot of good stuff on the board. God, I thought of one that's just very silly.
Go for it. Silly's good.
Silly, I think, is a correct answer.
And it's primarily because of how it affects Luke Lester. But what if the corporation is just sick of the Muppets, all Muppets everywhere?
Yeah.
Sure. That feels great. That feels really good. Of like, and that feels great. That feels fantastic, as we've established, it connects to the importance of a funny little guy. It connects to being outside of the box. It connects to
it's a load-bearing concept in the universe.
Yeah.
The Muppet is a load-bearing concept of like, these are individuals who through their actions have removed themselves from the laws of reality. They no longer play by a definable set of rules. They have transcended that, and that is inherently threatening. So there is something. So like, what is that? What is there something that we want to put on the table as like, is it just we're hunting Muppets? Are we protecting Muppets? Is there something more specific? Is there another card we want to draw on? Like, what are we thinking? What is that? What is the group excited about?
God. Okay. So I don't know why this just like sprung into my head, fully formed. The concept of like squads of corporation goons running around with ray guns that turn felt to flesh.
God.
Or like
God.
or
Fucking
like, you know,
mortifying.
they drain the color out of things, you know, just infuse them with mundanity. And I can see those squads like sweeping for people like, you know, Dr. Newt Geisler, or, you know, looking for since we've got Beej associated with the Muppets, you know, looking for you know, Beetlejuice in particular is how they get so close to our neck of the woods.
I like that. I mean, that's the flow of the game. What do you got?
To offer like how we're sort of combating that, as well as like helping people get away. We have Jim Henson. We have Guillermo del Toro. We can rebuild you. We can make more Muppets. We can take the pieces that are left. Like the first
Let's
Kermit
go.
was a ping pong ball cut in half on a sock. Like you can destroy as many as you want. We have imagination. We have the means to make more. We can rebuild them. We can make them bigger, stronger, faster.
Well, and I'm so glad that you said that, because that brings us to phase 3, which is how we undermine the plot. We use the knowledge that we've uncovered to defeat the thing, expose the corporation, and move one step closer to dismantling them once and for all. Play moves around the table, ending with the resident expert, with every investigator choosing an investigation point, choosing a connection, and drawing in a different color string a connection point between that connection and the corporate plot. This represents how we are using the knowledge that we have and the things that we have gained in our venture, or like in our investigation, to undermine this plot. And I think that is the perfect example. And we have people on this board that have created Muppets and have created through that expression of artistry as blending the walls between reality and fiction as something that can undermine the presence of.
I just have this visual, and I'm getting kind of emotional as I think about it, like finding somebody who has experienced this horrifying ray gun, and teaching them how to operate a puppet, how to make something. Like, you might be changed, but you can still
Yes.
create. You can still. The way you might do it is changing, but not. You cannot change the core of what something is unless it wants to be changed. You know? Outside the box subversion, just like.
I love that.
Be your own goddamn Muppet.
Be your own goddamn Muppet.
Let's see, who wants to choose? What other ways do we have of dismantling this threat?
I'm torn because I see two really good ones for combating the threat, but I think I'm gonna go for the more, I guess, ideological one. Which is asking for help.
Yep.
We can't do this on our own. We shouldn't do this on our own.
This also makes me just even more so pull whoops. Oops. I think we I think I completed August's line, maybe. Or no. Okay, everything's fine. Hold on. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm pulling human connection and drift compatibility. Yeah. Specifically the human connection part of it, I think. I'm done. But I think that just plays into everything that we were already saying, right? Like,
to come back to whimsy, glitter is shorthand for magic. A little bit of fairy dust, a little bit of sparkle, and what your imagination does with it.
So, I had actually thought about making a connection between glitter and another card that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to connect to anything. But I think we can expand this and connect glitter as shorthand for magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
To synths. and
Yeah.
specifically frame it as, well, sensor audio glitter, and also like there is a magic, like, for lack of a better way to put it, there is a there is a shorthand for like there are shorthands for there are cathedrals around everywhere with those for eyes to see them. Like there is shorthand for magic wherever there are eyes to see it, right? Like,
hold on. Scrap all our plans for the theme music for this mini-series. We're doing synths now, right? Like, we have to. We have to do synths.
The idea of the idea that there is shorthand for magic wherever there are eyes to see it, right? The idea that, synths are they like, one of the weird things about Labyrinth as a movie, and one of the things that I think makes it so interesting is like synths are a shorthand from a different genre. Like they're using synths, and it's adding to the sense that this does not feel like a typical kind of fairy tale experience, because synths are a shorthand for techno. Like they are an 80s techno sound that adds this like modern element to the fantasy of it. And the idea that like in a cyberpunk story you will hear synth music that is like incongruous with like the time and tech, right? Like modern music does not inherently sound like techno, but that has become the sound of a particular kind of science fiction. And so like there is an energy there of, you hear the magic, you hear the departure from reality, you see the glitter, and it signals a departure from reality. So there is and to that point, I think there's a beauty in bringing those signals of heightened reality and like using that to kind of flip the switch for people to push people towards becoming a little more Muppety, of like, what if the world was a little bit more genreified in all of these strange and specific ways?
Good fucking shit.
As for what I am drawing a connection between, I'm going to draw the connection. I'm going to do a two-way connection here. Actually, no. Yeah, I know exactly. Hold on. I know. I'm going to draw the connection here.
I see you, sir. I see you,
I think
sir.
like we've done a lot of things to like ideologically challenge these fascist goons with guns, but I think also like we have this card labeled kaiju, and we have this card connection between kaiju and Ludo, and this idea that there is always a human element to a kaiju. At a certain point, you gotta just smash the fascist with a giant monster. Like at a certain point, you blast a fascist with a big giant laser beam. Like I don't really know. There is the ideological defeat by way of making the world unwelcome for the ray gun that takes the magic out of the world, but also at a certain point,
sometimes you gotta punch a fascist.
Sometimes you gotta punch a Nazi in the face, and sometimes that involves getting my friend Godzilla to go stomp some shit.
Yeah.
Also, that has been provided. I know that we are not in this stage, but can we connect Superman to kaiju, please? Superman, the man.
Yes.
Of course.
Superman the
Is he a Muppet of a man?
He's a very Muppet of man.
He's a Muppet of a man.
I also drew a connection. You have no power over me, as just a refutation of everything that the corporation is doing.
Woo! That's exactly why I wanted to put it
I've
on
just
the board.
like that. Talking about like punching fascists and you have no power over me. I'm just thinking about Rage Against the Machine now. Like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. You have no power over me. Fuck yes.
Hell yeah.
Hey Jeff, this is a good game. You do a good game.
Yeah.
I feel great. This is great. I'm pretty jazzed up. I'll be honest, this is the first time I've actually played like a session 2 of Canonize, and it worked way better than I expected.
Woo! That's what I like to hear.
And so with that, we have dismantled the corporation's plot. We have made them one piece weaker. And we are one step closer to dismantling the organization and freeing the world from its grasp. Congratulations, agents. Great job.
Yippee!
Hell yeah.
And which means that we've come to the end of today's session, which brings us to the interstitial phase. Now's when the real investigation starts. We've been given a general topic, possibly a recommended reading list, some recommendations of friends' favorite pieces within a fictional world. What are we watching between now and the release of our next episode? What are we watching between now and our next session?
I think Tank Girl is first.
So, listener, between now and the release of next episode, talk to us about Tank Girl. Tell us what our listeners should be watching.
Dear listeners, if there are a number of places you can find Tank Girl to watch, if you already have Prime Video or Apple TV or Crunchyroll or a Netflix account and a VPN, there are also other places. Yo ho, my hearties. Sail forth. There are ways and means.
The corporation does not have final say over creativity in the worlds that we occupy.
Mm-hmm.
Take the message of Canonized to heart. Watch Tank Girl wherever you're going to watch.